parents and the children could have fun together.
Please board quickly and safely. Our monorail will be departing momentarily.
Welcome to the My DVC Points podcast. Join the conversation as DVC members share their stories, personal preferences, and magical memories. Your reservation is confirmed, your fast passes are booked. Pull up on the yellow strap because our journey into the magic of membership is about to begin.
To infinity and beyond.
Now, here's your host and curator of magical stories, Chad Pennycuff.
Welcome home, neighbors, to episode 263 of the My DVC Points podcast. We are live streaming this to YouTube and our Facebook channels. And in today's show, we're talking about our monthly DVC Resale Market recap report. And I'm going to invite Jody from DVC Resale Market to join me today. How you doing today, Jody?
Doing good.
I started doing these shows quarterly for a while, and I just heard from so many people that they like hearing from you guys. They like hearing my take on the resale market when they start to do their buys and sells and all that kind of fun stuff. So I guess I'm just a nerdy analyst that got some nerdy analyst type following from people, and they love the show. So we moved it back to monthly, and I'm glad to do that because I'm glad to get to hang out with you more often, Jody.
I know. It's always fun. Thank you. I'm glad we're doing it.
In today's show, we talk about three topics. What went on with the RoFer Monster? That's Disney's right of first refusal. When you get ready to buy or sell a contract, Jody will write the deal up between the buyer and seller. And then according to the DVC rules, we have to submit it over to Disney. They review it and they have the opportunity to step in as the buyer of that contract. That's called their right of first refusal. It's a scary process when you're buying a contract because you don't want the RoFer Monster to come in and steal your deal. So he kind of has a bad reputation out there for stealing people's contracts, Jody.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that particular monster, even though it's Halloween. They're not getting ready for Halloween. They don't want this one to come out.
Yeah, and so far this year, he's only showed his head 7 times.
Right.
And there was some right up front. And then mid-month in August, we had 3 contracts bought.
Out of the blue.
And then the RoFer Monster goes back into hibernation. Like I'm thinking he woke up, got a little bit of a midnight snack, Jody, and then rolled over and went back to bed.
Right? Something. I mean, he said, I don't want to do this. Let's go back to sleep.
I mean, because
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, like prior years, we've seen 20, 30 of these things taken a month.
I know.
And now we're at 7 for the year. Like it's kind of a weird situation.
It is. I kind of thought maybe they'd buy a few more back before their end of their fiscal year, get rid of some of the extra money if there was any on the books, but they haven't. So it's kind of interesting.
No, my take is Disney's cut this deal with Comcast and they're throwing every penny they can at their cable bill. Okay. Their Hulu bill. Okay?
I don't think you want to bring up the cable and Disney right now. There's a lot of upset people. I thought it was just here in Florida because we tried to turn on ESPN and my husband and son were a little upset at not being able to see the games, but apparently it's everywhere. My friends in California were saying they can't even watch ABC News.
Yeah, it's all of Spectrum. So it's interesting to see what's going on there. My take is, and this is just my own little hot take here, Disney has been shaking out the couch cushions, going for coins, doing whatever they can to pay this Hulu buyout bill. So they haven't really been buying anything back, but they cut that deal. They're going to be paying that here pretty soon. And so a brand new fiscal year starts on October 1st. So I think if people are wanting to buy, right now is a great time to come back in and try to get those contracts in under the RoFer marker before he wakes back up again. Jody, your thoughts?
No, I agree. I mean, right now it's still a buyer's market. And while we have a lot of sales, I still feel like there's a lot of inventory and the prices are just so good. And to your point, the right of first refusal has been pretty much non-existent and it will eventually come back up. When, we don't know, but it's not going to stay this way forever. So it's definitely a good time to, if you're looking, I would say.
I think it is, Jody. When we start looking at this, I like going over your guys' blog post as well when we start talking about this stuff. So you guys want something in writing or just to follow along on the written deal, I'll pretty much writes it all up for you here over at the Key RoFer updates, talking about how it's only been 3. And then one of them they bought back in August was a Grand Floridian, which is an actively sold property.
Yep.
I don't understand that one, although they are coming back in to end out the direct sales of Grand Flow. They're about ready to sell that out and wrap that up. But I'm like, why would you let him come back in and do this? And
yeah, I don't know. You never know exactly what they're doing and what their rhyme or reason is, because past they've let ones go through that were low and then bought ones back that were higher than ones they've let go. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's not random. I mean, even when I worked there, we would try and figure it out. We don't know.
It sure seems to be. Okay.
I mean, I will say this. Some of it, yes, is random. I have a friend who did work in finance and was part of the review team, the ROFR review team. And he said it wasn't every time. Obviously, they have formulas and stuff, but sometimes they would just buy back a random one. They said literally to kind of keep people guessing, or to kind of, so people couldn't figure out a pattern. Because there are people like you, Chad, these nerdy type.
Us nerds will go to work. I mean,
so I mean,
you need a curveball in there to throw us off our off the scent, Jody.
Yeah, I guess they know what they're doing a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I'm telling you. I love this comment live from somebody on Facebook saying, "Shh, let the ROFR Monster sleep."
Right.
And Tim makes a good comment here that we all dislike the ROFR Monster, but he keeps the DVC contracts worth what they are in the long run. And
that's true.
He does tend to make people a little bit afraid and bid their prices up when they're getting ready to put an offer in, so that they're not taken up by the ROFR Monster there as well.
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, you just want a nice balance where, in the years past, it was a nice balance. It wasn't Disney being as aggressive as they were last year and not as non-existent as they are this year. Because yes, at the end of the day, right of first refusal does prices. People buy Disney because it's not like every other timeshare where you can't, you want to pay someone to take it off your hands. So it's not like that. And that's a good thing. So at the end of the day, right of first refusal is a good thing. They definitely should, in my opinion, continue to do it, especially for ones that are super low in price. I know buyers don't really want to hear that. And I'm not saying they'll buy everyone back, but
I think it's a healthy part of our economy and ecosystem.
Yeah.
Here. I really do. But speaking of that, let's shift over to average sales prices this month.
Yeah.
Let me start to come back, because this one was a head scratcher as well. I think we decided that the beach resorts were all up, but Wilderness Lodge kind of fell, is the best way I could put the title in on this one. So let's bring it up and take a look at it.
Yeah. It was a little haphazard, right? Because if you look at it, we had some declines on some of the resorts and then increases on others, which is a little interesting. But yes, every single one of our off-site, not at Walt Disney World, every one of them went up in price.
Yeah, that's
everyone.
So all the beach resorts in Grand Cal and then I think that the key paragraph in here is that the average sales price here, despite the unexpected resurgence of ROFR, the average sales price stayed the same, which meant we had some winners and some losers in here in terms of what they're doing in price, but the average tended to balance out, which I think is an indicator of a nice, strong, healthy resale market here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the three that they bought back really moved the needle much on. I honestly don't think it had any bearing on
because
prices.
Didn't they buy back some Animal Kingdom, and Animal Kingdom was one of the risers.
Yeah.
So we can look here. It was up $2 last month.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that has to do with the one or two they bought back, but you never know. You never know.
I think the real story here is on year over end. If you look from August 22 to August 23, pretty significant declines across the board, but we've known the market was in somewhat of a correction from post-COVID.
Yep.
And just looking down at this list, though, you can start to see things are just waffling a dollar or two, which I'm okay with. That's just average deviations and normal fluctuations. And then we get down here to my beloved Copper Creek, and I still own 225 points at Copper Creek. And I look at this going from 153 to 140. And the only thing I can think of is the 7-year itch. Is we're getting into that time frame where this resort opened up 2017. So we're in about year 7, where about 50% of the buyers will be out. So between 7 to 8 years, roughly 50% of the original owners will sell.
it is kind of curious that it took such a large dip. I mean, I'm kind of interested to see, I know this doesn't help the show right this second, but I have a feeling that's going to bounce back. I don't think we're seeing a downward trend there. I mean, it might not go up to the highs that it was a couple months ago, but I don't see it going down more, and I see it probably bouncing back a little bit. But I mean, I could be wrong, obviously. I think this is kind of just a strange anomaly.
It is. And I love Jared's comment here. He goes, did they know that Geyser Point doesn't close after 7 years? And
right?
That is one of the most awesome places on property to just hang out and chill out. And
it is. We've met up there before, right?
We have. We definitely have. We've had some listener meetups there as well. So yeah, the Copper Creek one's a little shocking to me. I wish it would come back up just in the event I have to sell mine, but I'm not planning on doing that anytime soon.
No. I predict it will, so I think you're okay. But don't yell at me if I'm wrong.
Okay. Well, I predict Grand Flow is going back up because as they start to raise the prices here direct and they start to close off that inventory, I think we're going to see our Grand Flow prices start to normalize back up a little bit higher where they were.
Yep, and the incentives are going to go away soon. I think there's so many dates I have stuck in my head.
Like next week.
Yeah, I was going to say it's in the next week or two. Once those are gone, then between the price increase and the incentives going away, then yes, that should creep back up because it's still a really popular resort.
Still a great resort, great location, super low dues. It's a phenomenal place to own.
It is.
Especially if you want a 7-month network. It is I'm a big low dues fan, as we'll talk about later on in the show.
Oh, yeah. Wait, can I just mention this real quick? I don't know if it's still available, but I listed one of those unicorns, like narwhal unicorn, like totally weird. I had listed a 50-point subsidized dues Vero today.
I saw that.
Did you?
And we will get to that here in just a second.
I'm jumping ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I'm excited about it as well. We'll do whatever we can do to get you some notifications on that and some eyeballs on that contract because it was a pretty good one.
I'm thinking of snagging it myself. Believe me, it's super tempting. But
I'm telling you, right? And just looking at this though, like Old Key West is down, Old Key West Extended is down. So Polynesian was only down $1, and then Riviera was down $4. And we did have a good question here from a live listener, and Jared is saying that they own 360 at Riviera. They want a total of 500 or somewhat close to that. And he thinks, what do you think would be a solid price per point on a 125 to 140 point contract?
At Riviera?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it depends on how loaded the contract is, but I'd say, if it's kind of stripped out, you could probably get it somewhere in the 130s. And if it's really loaded, somewhere in the 140s per point. But they kind of range in that, they kind of teeter. Last month, it was 131. That's kind of a tougher one because we don't sell as many. So like a large Riviera could totally skew that, right? But definitely I would say for the most part in the 130s, maybe in the 140s, like low 140s, if it's a super loaded contract.
And I'm looking and there's nothing but huge contracts here in 160 pointer.
Yeah.
There's nothing in here that's really fitting what Jared's looking for in one contract. Now you could pick up the 61 if it was matching your use year and be fine. But I think you're going to get a little better price if you wait for like a 150 to come out there.
Yeah.
And given that 150 was the minimum buy-in for new people, I'm fairly certain you'll see some 150s that'll pop up that'll match that. That's kind of my take on it as well.
Riviera, just to keep in mind, the prices you'll see kind of tend to be a little bit all over the place because it is a newer one that they're selling, and a lot of people still have loans on it. So a lot of people can't sell. I mean, not that that's the buyer's problem, but it's just a reason why sometimes
it artificially holds the market up because
some sellers
don't want to bring cash to the table to get out of this deal.
No one wants to do that. I mean, we have some that I always tell them, listen, if it's like $1,000 or less, you're going to end up paying that out over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months anyway. Just pay it, stop the bleeding with the interest and stuff and do it. But if someone's several $1,000s upside down, they might, they might not have the ability to do that, which is understandable.
Yeah. I'm completely good with that. So looking at the Jody, we have 436 active listings right now. And if you just come over to the listings page and then have no filters on this, and then check the box that says active listings only, that will come back in and show you that. If I uncheck it, it shows 671, which means the last week or two, you've sold a couple hundred contracts.
Yep.
And I do this every month because it seems like last time we were at around 407-ish. And so we might be up a couple of contracts. But what this is telling me is the market is flowing. People are coming in and buying and selling, and all of that is happening here.
Yeah.
And then I come over here, and this is what I'm going to do because I love me some subsidized dues contracts. So I put this little filter on right here. And this is why you guys have the best website in all of DVC is you can do this. And right here is your Vero Beach subsidized dues contract.
Right.
And so if I pull this up and you can get into there, this is like exceptionally rare.
It is.
And this contract was bought when Disney said, hey, we're going to develop this back lot and add on to this. And then Disney ended up saying, we're not going to do it. And then they ended up selling off the back lot. So those buyers were anticipating more condos coming back in and picking up the dues on the shared part of it. So I think the settlement for this was Disney just agreed to lower their dues. Mm-hmm. And it's about $2 a point someplace in there for this contract. So if you're a Vero Beach lover and you want to pick up some subsidized Vero Beach contract points, Jody's got a 50-pointer listed for you here.
I know. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm super tempted. And I think since I've been working here, I have maybe seen 4. And I've been here, 9 years, 8 years? Like they're super rare. Yeah. Super rare. Yeah.
And as we can see, the dues are $12.85. So you're getting what, a $2.62 discount here?
It's just a little over, like year over year. It's about a little over 20% less than the regular Vero dues,
which are high. So 20% is a good deal.
Yeah. I mean,
and now there's the contract back over here that has me drooling because I'm an Alani fanboy.
Yeah.
And
you mentioned
that. Yeah, like every show, somebody's pointed out, they're like, Chad, you realize you like mention Alani every show. And I'm like, what can I say? It's like my favorite resort and I love doing it.
Hey, I don't blame you. I mean, I haven't been yet, which is crazy, but I don't know one person who's been there and even said, it was okay. Like literally everybody is like, yeah, it's the best place I've ever been. I have people calling me from that resort all the time. Like, I'm here in Alani now. We want to add or buy points. So I know it's got to be amazing. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Here's what's amazing about this contract. $9.14 normal dues. This one's coming in at $6.87 down here.
Oh, I know.
Like $6.87. Like, Jody, you could buy this contract and just use it as network points.
You could. Absolutely. It's like Saratoga, right?
Because it's going to go any place in the classic resort collection. So you're not going to Riviera with it. You're not going to the Disneyland Tower.
Right.
But you can go any place else in the existing ones. Cheap. And when we start looking at this going, hey, Copper Creek was, I was crying that it was down at 140. Well, here you're only paying 120 a point if you pay the listing. Or was it 130? No, 131 is what they've got it listed at. I would try to get it for 120 if it was me. But I don't know. I don't know if the buyer would take it or whatever. But that would be Jody's math to go in there and work her magic on it.
Yes, I would be able to see what I could do for you. Yeah.
But this is the contract that has me most excited in here because I like looking through them as well. It's kind of a bad habit. It's just a really good thing right now, Jody, that there's no way I can squeak out $20-something thousand for a contract.
You don't have that in your pocket right now that you could just whip out? No?
Not that kind of wiggle room.
Darn it.
Not that kind of, I just bought the Disneyland Tower and that took up all of my wiggle room right there. So I'm like, yeah, I got to get that one taken care of as well.
I gotcha.
And Shauna says that they saw your unicorn come up today.
Yeah.
And Ron is saying the best, most friendly user website for sure. Sometimes too easy. Ron, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
My buddy Rye is saying Dole Whips, the real kind of Dole Whips from Alani.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm an Alani fanboy, and Rye's the one who pointed out that I've pretty much been talking about Alani on every show here recently. And I'm like, well, I'm just trying to get there. What can I say?
Yeah, you better get back there soon.
But that pretty well covers what we've got to go over this week. Jody, do you have anything else to add or go over? New info? Any insights?
trying to think, it's, believe it or not, been relatively quiet other than just, we've been busy with sales, like I said, but I think right now, buyers are seeing like these prices are really good and they're taking advantage of it, probably wondering when is it going to start going back up? Because inevitably it will. We just don't know when. Other than that, it's been, rather quiet. So nothing too exciting.
Well, guys, be able to stay tuned into their blog over at DVC Resale Market. I heard some rumors about some ticket stuff coming up where you can do some point swaps for tickets, maybe a little promotion coming up down the pipe on that. So we'll just tell everybody to stay tuned for more details on that one coming up. And we've covered RoFer Monster is woke up for a little snack. Average prices stayed pretty well flat, consistent with some rising and some lowering. And then inventory has been pretty well stable. It's like buyers and sellers are coming at about the same pace.
Yep.
So
it's a healthy balance right now, but I'd still say it favors the buyers right now. So, it's not a totally in balance, but I mean, I'd say if it has to favor one or the other, it's definitely still more of a buyer's market. So great time to buy.
Great time to buy if you haven't just like unloaded all of your wiggle room, because that's where I'm at. But want to give you a quick shout out here, Jody, and let people follow up with you. They can drop you an email at jody@dvcresalemarket.com right down here below, or call you, text you, however you want to at 407-325-7116, if I typed that correctly.
You did. Thank you.
Okay. So, well, that's pretty much it for our show today. Hopefully you guys learned something in here about the DVC resale market that you can use to go in here and make some educated decisions about what contract is best for your family, direct versus resale. Jody will help you save a boatload of money, and you can get that Disney level of experience and expertise without having to pay the Disney price tag.
Yay.
So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back probably next week because there's some new direct incentives coming out, and my buddy Ron Chammer and I will be tearing that up as to whatever they put out there. In the meantime, y'all have a great day, and thanks for tuning in. Good night, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know I'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.